Alright, so what I've managed to do, with a little bit of help from someone else, is to bring this panel in. Doesn't that have some character? Let's just have a good look at it. Yeah, it's definitely got some character. The old church key down there. I've got one. I don't think it's for this vehicle. I've got another car that has had one of these types of locks in it in the past. So anyway, but yeah, she looks good, and this is not going to get painted. I'm just going to clean it, and that'll be it. I might not even clean it. I might just leave it as it is. There's even lichen growing on some of these windows. So yeah, what I've done is just I had someone help me basically lift it up, and I just went through and clamped it, you know, in some spots. Look at that gecko running around. The gecko there. See him? I'll get a good view of him for you. There he goes. He blends in quite well in this combi. There you go. Oh, he just jumped off. He'll find his way out. So what I did is just battery tray, just clamped it on, threw some straps on it to keep it sort of from falling over, and surprisingly I thought those bottom plates weren't going to touch this at all, this frame, but they're awfully close. It looks like the frame, the bottom of this rib cage, where it comes out, there's like a tab I think that welds to the floor. It looks like it's partially still there, so that's a really good thing for me to have to get measurements from, because what I'll be doing now is bringing some supports out to weld to this, just, you know, temporarily. The idea is to get as much of this to get, sorry, I'm in right very tight space here. Got the motor up on my lift, the wheels over there, so I've got no room. So I'm just going to spend a little bit of time now tidying up the mess. I might even get the transmission and the gearbox and just put it in there, get it out of the way, put the tyres somewhere, maybe at the back, and clear a bit of space in here. So what I'm trying to do, original glass, one's broken. It's a shame, but I do have period correct glass. See how thick this is? This is original glass. It's very thick. Anyway, so what I've been doing is trying to get this so that it lines up to wherever they've ripped it apart. Because, you know, it's a blessing in disguise that they ripped it apart like that, because some of these pieces, you know, one flange from one panel meets another panel's flange, but they've ripped some of that flange away, so it actually, you know, joins up, meets up. So what I'm doing is just panel beating this front section into some sort of coherent meeting place between the two. This was all bent way out. This was all just collapsed in. That's where the seat was. You can see it sort of goes across, and then there's just the tiniest little reference point for me right here, which is lovely because now I've got a reference for the, where the dog leg starts from, which I did not have before. I had no idea. Now that's providing that it's the right length or the right height from the floor plate. Now something funny is going on here. I can lift this and I can pull it backwards and forwards, so I'm definitely not in the final position. A lovely little thing also, this was all bent up like a crumbled can, and what I did is you can see all of the mess on the floor. I just took my hammer and dollies and pliers and just panel beaded this back out to some sort of profile. You can see where all the creases were. There's a lot more, but now I've got a bit of a profile for this dog leg. So now I know I start there, I come up, I basically work there and I come across. So now I've got that. I've actually got that now. I can make a panel for a pattern for that, and then it's a matter of working out the front one. But so the idea I've got is, see all the rubber just falling out of this as well. Is to bash these back together and throw a few spot welds in, just some tacks, just light tacks, because this is only flapping in the breeze itself, so it's only got a few tacks there. I don't think that's going to be in its final position, but the more I put back on this, the more exact it's going to be. That's the original paint colour there. Yeah, it's a bit faded. Yeah, I'm not a fan of this house paint. They've used house paint on the inside of it, this white house paint, and then there's a green, and then there's the original blue, which is there, and then on the outside what they've done over the top of the house paint, they've used like a red primer, like a red oxide, and I think that you can see the brush strokes. They've literally used, you can probably see the brush strokes there, they've used a paintbrush to do that. There's the semaphores there, the indicators, they're still sort of there. I definitely think they won't be operational until I give them a service and sort them out. But I'm just spending a bit of time now and getting my bearings really. I'm actually surprised it's got a bit of a bow there. It's had a hit of some sort. Yeah. But I'm getting, you know, more reference points as I go along. And this thing is only going to be going back together, you know, as minimally as it can. This isn't going to be like a full, you know, each panel is cleaned to within an inch of its life and then acid bathed and then, you know, laboratory clean conditions. It's definitely not going to be that kind of vehicle. I'm shooting for the rusty look here. That's the whole point. That's the whole point of this. Is to get a banger. So yeah, and there's the top of the door frame, the door, or the roof, I say, the roof gutter. So they're unusable, but they're good as a reference, and there's a bit of a curve there. So now I've got, you know, a distance up there. So once I've got this pulled back together and then tacked in, I'm going to go grab a door and then make up some gap basically some little pieces of steel to keep the gap correct, and then tack the door in place. And then because I've got this reference point now, and I've got this reference, I've got this reference, and I've sort of got this reference because this is a permanent curve. And if you look at the back there, I've got the back panel pretty much vertical. It will flex a little bit, so I can throw a door on it now. Not quite yet, but quite exciting really. And just keep going at it. Feel free to comment. Bring you back.